what are the mindset traps, strategy gaps, spiritual blockers that I see happen over and over again that kept moms stuck in 2025. 4 patterns that prevented moms from seeing real results in turning symptoms around in 2025. That's important to know at the beginning of a new year, to set up a strategy that actually works this season. Not 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Consistent, predictable, reliable changes in your child's symptoms in this season. So if that's you, this podcast is definitely for you. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Barefoot Autism Warriors podcast. I'm Ninka Bernadette Mauritsson, and my son lost all the symptoms that gave him the diagnosis in 2004. Stimming, sleepless nights, eloping, tantrums, rigidity, aggression, sensory issues, echolalia, and is now living independently without those symptoms. As a journalist and an ex-New Age autism mom saved by Jesus in 2020, I'm navigating all this, and I'm all about stopping moms just like yourself running on that hamster wheel of ineffective therapies, protocols, practitioners, deception and distractions in the mainstream and holistic world. If less symptoms, more independence, more speech, peace, God and joy is your plan, you're in the right place. So what are some of the challenges that moms in my community deal with that you might recognize? I've audited between 70 and 100 moms, ambitious moms who are either homeschooling or still working, know a lot about nutrition and diet, have a spiritual or a faith-based approach to the healing as well. There are some common patterns. Moms who are super intelligent and ambitious have multiple components in their recovery strategy, trying to make sense of what actually works, trying to add on or introduce more tools or therapies, thinking that the more tools I add in, the more broad my approach is, the less symptoms I will have. And I call this the Cameroon model, the cartel model, the war zone model, because it's like those soldiers who are in fight and flight, panic mode, firing at everything, hoping that we're going to hit something. And the problem is that when we do that, we are hitting everything, including our friends, not just the enemies. And I'm talking spiritual friends, microbial friends, emotional feelings that are here to help us, Holy Spirit instructions, all the things. Moms want to create consistent change. That can be difficult when you are firing at everything. And most of these moms also have family issues, personal issues. A lot has changed this year. They have changed. Their children have changed. Growth spurts, spiritual components where God's plan and the presence of evil is really becoming obvious. Family members grow, and when children grow and get bigger, the demand and the challenges also change. Marriage no longer holds the pressure as well. Siblings are deteriorating in the shadow, feeling like autism also robs them of their childhood, and behavior in siblings is also becoming more and more intense. So all these things and what's going on politically, what's going on spiritually, where the presence of evil versus God's plan is becoming really obvious. And the ability to discern between what is actually God's plan and what are the distractions in the spiritual realm becomes really important. And the level of ambition has changed. We no longer just want to work on removing symptoms. It's not enough. We want future independence. We want life skills for our children. We want emotional intelligence. We want to have conversations. We want to know what our children actually like, which we can't if we don't communicate stories about abuse and neglect in special needs institutions and the inefficiency of therapies, including ABA, the spiritual hijack in holistic health and functional medicine has made it even more important to ensure my child's going to be independent in the future, because I don't trust anyone else to be responsible for my child's safety and turnaround process if I'm no longer here. So that's why independence has become more important than ever before. Here's the thing though, you're so far removed from where and who you were when you came into autism. A big root cause and a problem that prevents moms from turning symptoms around, and what I've seen in 2025. And this is what happens to a lot of intelligent moms when your child was first diagnosed, where you focused on symptoms, you focused on tests, what to do about it, and removing them, to now knowing the depth of healing required, God's plan and God's order when it comes to healing and recovery. You get irritated when moms and practitioners talk about oat tests, detox and parasites, water filters and MLM companies. It feels like you have outgrown them. You've outgrown the practitioners. You've outgrown the moms who claim that they have turned symptoms around for their children. And that is scary too, right? Because knowing more than the people you used to lean on leaves you with more responsibility and less support. A realization and an obstacle that doesn't show up in the first year, but it shows up in the lack of results and sustainable changes in your child's symptoms year 2 or year 3. It's like hanging out with beginners when you are actually an expert. So you want more. Here's the trap that I see a lot of moms fall into, especially if you're spiritually or faith-based. You get into deliverance ministries or hyper-charismatic churches, or you get deceived by energy medicine practitioners or Christian herbalists who are deeply influenced by occult practices because they are trained in Chinese medicine by people who are heavily into ancient mystic thinking. Turning symptoms around is not about delivering your child from demons. That is a massive deception. So you're not realizing that just because someone is a pastor, just because someone is a Christian practitioner, it doesn't mean that they cannot completely derail you and waste your time, turn you away from God's plan and away from sustainable scientific healing strategies. A massive turnaround blogger in 2025, as well as homeopathy, energy medicine, quantum medicine, bioresonance. And I've recorded several podcasts about that, and I'll link to those in the description as well. So this will leave ambitious moms in a vacuum without a strategy or tests in place to really determine what works for my child and how do I tailor my approach to my child's ever-changing needs. You used to be inquisitive. You used to be deep. You used to be a risk taker. Leadership mentality. Not anymore though. So this helplessness, hopelessness, this student mindset where you become dependent on practitioners or Facebook groups to tell you what's going on with your child and what to do about it, that just doesn't feel like you. And if you used to take care of yourself and your health, and now you're letting go, it's no longer a priority. So you eat foods that aren't beneficial. You don't get enough sleep. You are not hydrated. Because, and I get it, you don't have the energy all the time because you need to get your child to a better place first. But here's the thing. Your child is here to flag up areas in your life where you operate in self-abandonment, out of alignment with God's order and rules for the family. God's perfect order and rules for health and healing. And these symptoms in your child are actual wake-up calls telling you that something's gotta change. So it's the other way around. If you want real results, you cannot abandon yourself. You have to understand that your child is actually trying to get you back on track through these symptoms as well. When you are fine-tuning from a place of helplessness and fear, you actually have resistance to the change you need in order to help your child. I know that sounds crazy, but a brain in fight, flight, and fear will not accept change, not even if change equals turning symptoms around, because the brain sees change as dangerous. This is why if you are head on a stick and you are in helplessness and fear, you cannot head on a stick your way out of this. You have to start returning to nourishment spiritually, emotionally, practically, nutritionally, in order to work your way out of this mess and pull your child with you. So right now, the issue that's blocking results, this is what I see with moms over and over again. You don't have a strategy for auditing, figuring out, testing what actually works. I'm not talking tests from practitioners, food intolerance tests or gene tests. I'm talking language skills where you can interpret symptoms. You know exactly what's triggering a symptom in your child, where you can monitor what's going on. You can put it into context in all areas, spiritually, emotionally, nutritionally, epigenetically, biologically, for you and your child, and adjust your approach accordingly. That is what works. Instead, you're doing this trial and error approach. There's no repeatability. There's no foundation to stand and build on. No development of skills to learn, to understand what's triggering symptoms and what to do about them. That's why emotionally, speech, behavior, and mood-wise, your child is at a standstill. What's needed is for you to go from trainee to mastery, because your child's needs change all the time. You need a strategy to be able to monitor what's going on and change strategy according to the ever-changing needs in your child. That's what I teach moms how to master. And most moms are underestimating how generational chaos, trauma, and survival mechanisms that you have experienced in your childhood is brought into your family and into your recovery strategy, literally preventing you from creating and sustaining the optimal state for healing and peace. According to the Bible, the optimal state for health and healing, a heart at peace gives life to the body, right? But before peace, we need to establish God's order. If there's chaos, we cannot expect peace, and we are not eligible for peace before we have brought order in the chaos. And that is something that needs to be dealt with from a childhood trauma perspective as well. That looks like you literally and subconsciously resisting or resenting discomfort because you have experienced discomfort in your life that you don't want to repeat, or you have experienced anger, or parents who couldn't hold space for uncomfortable feelings because they didn't know themselves, or they weren't physically or emotionally available. You learn to detach from feelings and detach from the body in which you experience feelings. That is something that is preventing you from helping your child go through discomfort, which is absolutely necessary if you want to turn symptoms around. Here's the really crazy part. When this is your blind spot, you end up hiring or following moms or practitioners who are equally detached from their hearts, equally tense in their nervous system, because heads on sticks are drawn to heads on sticks. We are drawn to what we recognize. You are drawn to their blind spots because they will keep you at surface level and in a dysfunctional familiar pattern. Detached practitioners and moms will affect the quality of your foundation negatively, spiritually, emotionally, biochemically, nutritionally, because they are typically very successful marketeers and they will be super appealing and beautiful. They look very put together, but they can only focus on 1 to 2 things. That's all they can hold when their nervous system is tense. So they will either focus on a specific part of nutritional pathways or only on supplementations and tests, but not the depth and the spiritual healing in a biblical context that you really need to get into a peaceful place where you can truly heal yourself and your child. So your nervous system and the Holy Spirit in you senses that something is off. Up until now, you just have not taken that seriously, and that is one of the reasons why you're not seeing results, because you're actually yoking with the wrong people. Another really important root cause of lack of results is a lack of unified effort and collaboration in the family. So you might feel like you're not getting support from your husband, family members, friends, or even your children. And that's because your children, your husband, friends, and family, they will respond to your blind spots. They will express what you suppress. They sense your lack of integrity in your walk with God, self, and others. They sense your lack of authority, self-respect, and self-care. And your fear of pushback, your fear and exhaustion, because you've battled with your child for so long and you've battled with your partner for so long, has taught them how to treat you, because you are avoiding conflict. Remember, we talked about this before. When you are in avoidance, people close to us tend to push back, to force us to set the boundaries that we never set, to step into self-care and self-healing, to step into the peace and the order that God has already set up for you, and to step into integrity and lead by example, because you are a mirror without a mouth. Remember, they look at you to see and learn how to treat you, but they also look at you and see and sense where you are not authentic, where you're not being truthful to yourself. And a child specifically will feel super unsafe with a mother who cannot take care of herself, because subconsciously this child knows, if there's danger, my mom will not be able to protect me because she cannot even protect herself. Your partner will battle with you when you are not aligned with God's order and rules for marriage, and you're 2 men battling each other for territory, or you're 2 women bitching over food, not understanding the difference in the role of the husband and the wife. This is something that we work on extensively inside my program, and it has saved so many marriages. Do not run away from your husband until you've learned this, okay? So, my friend, this is a season for you to allow yourself to be resourced, to accept support, to accept being human instead of a machine, to accept that you are vulnerable, grieving, that you are allowed to give yourself time to heal first. Success is not about how well you can abandon and neglect yourself to be there for others and for you to be in control. It's actually about dying to yourself, letting yourself be picked up, letting the old version of you go, including your overperformance and your self-reliance, honestly. It's a season where true understanding of systems versus symptoms is required. It's where you learn what a tailored recovery and escape plan looks like, instead of focusing on myopic components of one cause, one solution kind of strategies, where you can learn how to test symptoms instead of relying on people to tell you what to do and make decisions for you. You need to know how to make adjustments organically, like speaking a language, and design that escape plan for yourself. That's what you've been longing for, that authority, I think. How to tailor that escape plan based on the collected evidence and context. And that's what you need to learn in order to see results. That's what I'm an expert in teaching moms to do, applying biblical context to that strategy. If this made sense and you recognized yourself in some of these patterns that have kept moms stuck in 2025, and you want to make sure that 2026 is the year for you to turn symptoms around, predictably, reliably, becoming the expert in looking at your child and knowing exactly what's causing a symptom and what to do about it. Actual systematic change, spiritually, emotionally, biologically, epigenetically, neurologically, to change your child's outcome, more independence and less symptoms, not just temporarily, but for life. Then I would love to talk to you. I would like to audit you and your case, just like I've done with all these moms that I talk about in this podcast episode. If that's for you, the link to contact me is in the description. You can also go to barefootautismwarriors.com/program to see if I have available spots for you in 2026. At the time of this recording, I only have 35 spots left for 2026. So don't hesitate if you feel this is for me, this is your time. Let's talk. And I'll tell you immediately if I feel that I can help you become that expert or not. I don't take moms on board that I don't think I can help. Let's talk. Until next time, please, I would love for you to rate this podcast, give me a review, some stars wherever you are listening to this episode, share it with a friend so that we can get this message out to as many moms as possible.